Hey guys, how's it going? iStar here and welcome back to another video. Now I'm gonna be doing another full review of this game I just finished recently, which is Homefront. I'll be doing the PC version of Homefront. I'll go in detail my thoughts, expressions, and ideas of what I thought of the game, and if it's still worth your time to play, or if you want to come back and play it again. Now this review is in particular is only for the campaign mode of the game and no other parts. If you like what I'm doing, please hit the like button. If you're new here and want to see more, please hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell as well. If you want to leave any comments in the comment section down below, please do so as well. All this will help YouTube reach out and put it in its algorithm so it can reach out to more people. Also, before I dive right into the review, there may be some spoilers I'll be addressing. So, spoiler alert. Also, this review is under my own opinion and therefore will not 100% be the truth. Listen at your own discretion. Now, without further ado, let's not delay and get right into it. I'll be using these categories to break down the review just so it's easier for you guys to follow and for me to know what I'm talking about. Here are the categories I'll be covering: game mechanics, lore, sounds, and compatibility. So these categories will have subcategories to expand on that particular category so you guys will have a better view and review on the game. Now let's start off with the first category. Game mechanics. To ensure we understand and see how the game is made and function, this part is extremely important before we get into the more narrative part of the game. For this, we have a few subcategories I'll be covering with: animations, type of game modes, and resource management. We will now first start with the animations. The animations of the characters are overall not too bad. This game originally was created for Xbox 360 and PS3 ported game style. The graphics may not be the best in look and visual, however what it does is still good under modern engines. However, I will say I did occasionally see bugs in the animation. For example, the NPCs are not properly animated to walk through a door normally, and thus they get stuck at the side of the door until they manage to get themselves out there. Or sometimes the game will suddenly crash and you'll have to go back to a checkpoint in order to redo that part of the mission. For this reason, it can get mildly frustrating at times. Some of the shooting mechanics too are a bit clunky. For example, when you use the assault rifle with down sights, you have to press the button twice in order to turn off the mechanic or turn it back on. It does not have the mechanics to press and hold like in Call of Duty style games. I guess I can't blame the creators, as this is an old game and has been under a more old system that may have some troubles translating to newer system. For that matter, it will therefore make these kinds of animations mechanics become quite clunky. However, the cutscenes that they created are very well done, as it seems as though you are watching what is happening to the scene. The beginning cutscene in particular is really well done to show the severity of the situation. Under this reason, it is not all bad. There might be some high points I appreciate the game for. However, I will say that I wish in some ways the creators would have done a revamp of the game so I can try to fix some of the bugs and glitches it may have. Other than that, there is little else to say. Next is game modes. For this, it is a single player game where you play as Jacobs, whom you navigate through this world where America is being overrun by unifying Korean troops. You'll also see in first person where will be walking around under the lens of Jacobs. For a first person single player game, it has done a fair job in doing so. Next is resource management. For this, they use some basic mechanics. They allow you 2 gun slots and types of ammo capacity. The slur slot for the gun is for any major weapons like the Command Goliath and many other external machine weapons. They also use ammo capacity to manage how much ammo you have on hand and whether you need to pick up more or less. There is never ammo station to refill or restock. Most of the time you have to go and pick up ammo from the enemies to kill through the different guns they drop. However, they sometimes do have stations where you can pick and choose which guns you want to bring into the mission and swap them out if necessary. Same if you want to swap a different gun of the one dropped by the enemy guns. The mechanics are a bit interesting and is not a bad system they have set up. It also makes sense under the circumstances the main character was in. It gives the players the understanding that under war effort, ammo capacity is extremely limited. Lore. Now for the next category, we'll continue to expand and dive into these 2 subcategories in order to further expand on the review. Here is the subcategories I will cover: story and characters. Let's first start off with the story. To save you the trouble of hearing the entirety of the story, I'll go straight to my thoughts about it. I have to compliment that their story and the way the creators direct the story is very good. The plot development and having Jacobs to be the one turning around the invasion of unified Korean troops to save America is a huge thing. When it starts off when Jacob was being kidnapped and hauled away by the unified Korean troops in the bus, and leading to the point where he joins the resistance and begins to fight back against the enemy troops, it brought upon such much urgency, emotional trauma, and yet understanding that the player understands the nature of the world and the consequences behind it. Sacrifice is needed in order to achieve victory. While Homefront is a short story in portion, it is done enough to direct to the point. It narrates the beginning of this world story and lore to show how dangerous these unified Korean troops are and how scattered America is because of this war. For this matter, Homefront's story is perhaps one of the more powerful parts of the story. While the mechanics of the games were pretty good too, I feel still the story part of the game shines under its own merit, and for a very good reason. However, the story session isn't very strong and could be expanded. I thoroughly enjoyed the game, however, I must say some of the missions they set and how they created these missions are a tad bit frustrating and annoying. You often need to give a few tries in order to get through it, and even so, you often have to go back a step in order to beat through the game. While that is a problem, I feel as though I found some pleasure in enjoying the story of the game and how it made for this scenario. Next is the characters. Now you are introduced to a handful of characters in this game. Boone, Rihanna, Hopper, Connor, and a few other minor characters. For the most part, Rihanna, Hopper, and Connor are the main characters you are to follow in the game. Boone eventually dies, and so is one of the resistance bases. There is little known about each of the characters except for the fact that each character is part of the resistance because they want to fight against the unified Korean troops. I think since the campaign mode is very short, there isn't much room to expand on these characters and their backgrounds and their lores. However, we know as much Rihanna is close to Boone. Hopper was looked down upon at the beginning of the war because he's a Korean, and Connor had some form of hatred against the unified Korean troops. I think the character developments are a little bit poor in Homefront here, which is why I decided not to really expand on it much. The game creators had chosen not to add that as part of the repertoire because they were more focused on the action part of the game. It works out, and it's not necessary for these characters to have much development to make it workable. Sounds. There's nothing too much to say on sounds. I would say the sounds created in this game are very good, mostly match the audio of the game. There has never been music on this part of the game, and I think it's not necessary for the music to be. There has been mostly a lot of shouting, shooting, and explosion. I think this sets the tone of the game why America is in this situation in the first place, and that is the place of survival and escape. Although the beginning cutscene there is music, I think that helps set the tone to understand what it's like for the later parts of the game. The voice actors on this part are very clear and crisp, and the deliverance of the characters shines through very much so. You can feel the characters feel and understand the anguish and suffering they must put through in order to survive this war-torn place. Compatibility. While this game is able to handle most modern-day computers and engines, there are some compatibility issues to this, as some bugs, glitches, game crashes are the result of the game's inability to run itself properly. Well, the fixed bugs and glitches issues. While graphic-wise it can handle very well, the core itself and the engine built on it can perhaps be improved in some ways and tweaked. Still, it's very much playable and quite fun to play. Would I want to play the campaign mode again? Perhaps not. As much as the story lore of the game is very intriguing, it is not something I will want to do again, as the bugs and glitches is what becomes a little bit less enjoyable. However, I will not mind trying the other parts of the game, such as the multiplayer mode. If I have a group of friends I can play with, I'll be more than willing to play with them together with this game. Anyway, this is all I have for this review right here. I really do enjoy doing reviews for you guys and always expressing my thoughts, opinions, and understanding for you all. Always feel free to give me suggestions on what next games you want me to play and relate a review on. Once again, thank you all again so much for watching, and we will see you all on the next video. Bye now!